Hello, and welcome to the EVEEchoChamber. Today we got a new series for you, Close Encounters, our playlist of advanced encounters. Today, Justifiable Defense, Advanced. Let's get started.
Warp drive active.
Remember that if you are ever worried about the encounter that might be too difficult, you should not be warping in at 0 by hitting that button. You should be warping in at range.
Warp drive active.
Lock up the targets and start to build up speed and distance. Once you see in the top right that your weapons have begun to apply damage, don't forget to activate your damage mods, but keep an eye on your capacitor. You see that we are in low sec, but because we are inside of an encounter, we currently cannot be attacked by any other players. Someday they might add probes, in which case you can be found in your encounter, but that's not something we have to worry about yet. A reminder that as I've been flying this cruiser, I have disabled auto orbit in the settings, in the battle settings menu. This is because I want to anchor on one target. I want to orbit one ship that I'm not attacking as I slowly move through all the other ships. I do this so that my trajectory, so that my speed never changes or lowers until after I destroy that last ship, the one that I've been orbiting, that I've saved until last. I'm doing this now in this cruiser, where I wasn't doing it in my frigates before, because for my weapon system drones, the position of my ship and the trajectory of my ship does not affect the damage of the drones. The drones do have tracking, just like turrets do, but the tracking comes from the drones themselves. My ship's position does not matter. If your frigate has very long range or very good tracking, you might be able to do this as well. But when I was using my frigates, I always wanted to orbit at the optimal range from whoever I was firing at. You might remember from some of those frigate videos that the most dangerous parts, the parts where you might die, are when you suddenly change your trajectory, when you decide to loot a ship, or when you orbit a new target. And of course, when you get stuck on some piece of collidable terrain hanging out there in space. If your speed drops, if your turning stops, you're suddenly a much easier target to hit. As always, don't forget to loot. That would be very embarrassing. And to build off of what I was saying about maintaining your speed and trajectory, when you try to loot something, if you are already closer than 10 kilometers, you can loot that object without changing your orbit or your speed. But if you're farther away than 10 kilometers, your ship will change its instructions to approach the object you're trying to loot, and when it gets in looting range, it will stop if you don't tell it to do something else. If you're in something small and fast like a frigate, you could instead tell your ship to orbit the wreck that you are about to loot at something like 5 kilometers, and then when you are already within range, you could loot it without stopping. But remember that it's going to send you off in some random direction after that object no longer exists. You won't continue to orbit empty space, you will just go off in the direction you were heading when you looted that object, so you will have to give it new instructions as well. Op success. My defense was justifiable, and it was advanced. Let me know in the comments if you know what that reference was from. Thank you for watching. This has been the EVEEchoChamber. Fly safe.